Natalie John, welcome to Untapped Potential. You're joining us from St. Kitts. You
Yes,
are,
correct.
yes, you are the CEO of a Dreamy Wedding Group, which includes quite a portfolio of businesses from Dreamy Wedding Planning, where you are operating out of 13 Caribbean destinations. You
Correct.
also have a floral arm of your business, as well as an excursion aspect of your business. You've been in the business for about 20 years now, and you've had quite extensive experience in the bridal and events planning arena. So welcome to the program.
Thank you, Simone. It's certainly a pleasure being here with you today. Thank you for inviting me on board.
Yes, and certainly, and even before we get started, I wanted to tell you congratulations. You're the recipient of the Caribbean Wedding Planner of the Year in St. Kitts, as well as a Business Excellence Award in St.
Correct.
Kitts. So
Correct.
congratulations.
The wedding planning is actually was an award I received in Jamaica for wedding planning for the entire Caribbean. So yes, thank you for that.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So tell us a little bit more about your business.
Okay, so Dreamy Weddings, as you rightfully said, we've been around for last year. We celebrated our 20th year of operation. So we are now, I would say, a big girl because we're now 21. We're going into 21 years. We are event planners. We operate in 13 Caribbean destinations. Belize being one of the destinations, so we don't necessarily say islands, we say destinations because of Belize. We operate from as far as Jamaica in the north to Aruba down in the south, so we truly are authentic Caribbean. And I started Dreamy back in 1999 with just offering St. Lucia and St. Kitts. St. Lucia because I'm originally from St. Lucia, and I lived in St. Kitts at the time. And over the years, managed to grow the entity to offer 13 destinations, and as well to expand the business. So Dreamy was really my first baby, so it's really dear to me. And I extended that into concierge arm. So we also have a concierge arm, and that caters to doing our excursions, dealing with high net worth clients, and then moved into the floral design and events. I'm a trained florist as well. So really, it has taken me on a super journey, a journey which is certainly away from my background. I studied finance and marketing at St. Mary's University in Canada. But certainly a journey I think that has been an enjoyable ride thus far.
Yes, and in addition to wedding planning, because I don't want us to miss out anything, you also cater to those who are renewing their vows as well.
Correct. So
Yes.
the gamut of weddings and events, vow renewals, also symbolic ceremonies for LGBTQ couples. We also doing some destinations, but vow renewals, we actually launched our first ever group vow renewal together with the St. Kitts Tourism Authority. It was scheduled for this year, but due to COVID, we've now moved it to November, from the 4th to the 8th of November 2021. And so I'm super excited about that because I think many couples would have probably renewed their love for each other, being able to stay home with each other for such a long time. So it's really a nice opportunity to come out and celebrate with family, friends, loved ones next year. And that was actually done as part of our 20th anniversary celebrations. And I felt too that, especially with the event and wedding part of our business, Preston Bailey is someone that I've looked up to for many, many years. And I was able to actually get him on board. So we're doing a Dreamy industry breakfast for Caribbean and wedding and event professionals, because a lot of times we see their work, we admire their work from afar, we can't get to them, But bringing him, I'm excited about being able to bring him, and I'm also bringing Eddie Zaratian. He's an LA lifestyle and celebrity planner and florist as well. Bring him down so that our Caribbean professionals could actually get to meet them one-on-one, ask questions, and see how we could really continue to build and grow.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that some more because I'm really excited to hear about that opportunity. But just tell us a little bit in terms of what was your scale of business prior to COVID-19? Because as you know, you're in one of the industries most impacted by COVID-19. So what was business like before COVID-19?
Business was extremely good before COVID. I had in-house kids, full-time staff. I had 12 full-time staff. Outside of that, I had about 10 part-time employees, and throughout the entire Caribbean, I have over 30 part-time employees. And that was life before COVID. But life now during COVID, I say during because COVID is still so much a part of us now. We've down from 12 full time to now 2 full time.
Oh my.
And so that has really been, and we operated a really nice, tight knit family setting. So to actually have to do the talk with staff and say, you know, this is what it's going to come to. That was something that was a bit painful, but it's something that, you know, my staff knew that it was inevitable. There was really nothing else you could do. And from the weddings perspective, 70% of our business was cruise weddings. And so from the time we started getting the cancellations and persons asking for refunds, even if we had a refund policy and cancellation policies, at that time was certainly not a time to be hard and fast about our cancellation policies. You just had to just take the loss, eat it. But I am still hoping, and I think as Caribbean people, we are strong people, we resilient people. And I'm certainly an optimist as well. I do believe that the industry will rebound because the situation again is so fluid. I'm not sure what it will be, but I'm still hopeful that we can get back to where we were before COVID.
Yeah, certainly. And it's always a difficult decision when you have to let employees go. But just tell us, how have you adapted to the new business environment now?
I think I'm still adapting.
Yes,
But
yes, certainly.
I'm a thinker by nature, and so it has. I think I'm also busier now in that new space because I've embarked on a few things. I think COVID has also given me an opportunity to have a reset button and to decide, okay, you've gotten to 20 years, and how do you want to journey through the next 20 years? And so that's where my reset button has taken me to a number of places. One, I think I want to be able to give back to the industry because you have lots of young persons who are coming out of school, who are seeing on Instagram, on YouTube, and want to go into the events business and so forth. And so I have created a network called CWEP, Caribbean Wedding and Event Professionals.
Mhm.
It's really a space for learning, growing, training, and sharing. And I'm coming out with destination wedding protocols uh, for vendors in the Caribbean. So most of the islands are actually putting out protocols, but they're mainly for the hotels or just in general. But I don't think anyone is truly looking at our industry and saying, okay, if you're a photographer, what are the do's and don'ts now operating during COVID? If you're a makeup artist, what are the do's and don'ts? So I've taken the time, done the research, and now I'm putting the finishing touches on what would be a digital book to be able to share with fellow persons, professionals, as well as organizations within the region so that we could actually all be better in handling and managing during COVID. So that's one aspect
Mhm.
that I've been working on. the other aspect is looking at our designs and creating things more for celebrations at home, and from a local perspective, letting persons know it's still okay to celebrate. So these are some of the things that I'm working on. Then with Dreamy, from an international perspective, we started Dreamy proposals, because we know that coming out of, again, this pandemic, lots of persons are going to be celebrating and want to be looking forward to their life together. So proposals were really big in 2019. And so we really want to help those to-be grooms to set the stage for their brides to be. And so we started with one proposal already in St. Kitts. And so we are now working on ensuring that we could roll that out in all the destinations that we operate in.
Wow, wonderful. So it really sounds like you're busy, you're even busier now, because this has given you an opportunity to rethink. And many of the guests that I speak for with this program, that's what they're saying, that it's a time to press the reset button and to kind of think outside the box, to
Correct.
embrace ideas and opportunities they would not have otherwise thought about. So if
Correct.
you're just joining us, we're speaking to Miss Natalie John out of St. Kitts. She is the CEO of the Dreamy Wedding Group, and she has destinations in 13 Caribbean destinations. And she's telling us the challenges she faced with COVID-19 and how she's rebounding from these challenges. Now, would you say that technology is playing a key role in your new business operation?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The first couple of weeks when we shut down, the good thing was both of our platforms, we use software specific to the wedding planning industry, as well as to the floral and events design industry. So it was an opportunity to say to staff that we working from home, but it's a matter of training. There were lots of free webinars, and so persons got to be able to do the little things that they didn't have time to do, take time to relearn the software. Zoom, which we're using now, has ended up being extremely critical, because now, even if Zoom was around, you just didn't think to communicate with Zoom. You picked up the phone and you called. So we're using Zoom a lot more to do scheduled meetings, to also do meetings with our clients as well. And even in country, we're doing Zoom meetings with clients, and that helps too with the COVID protocols as well. And so I believe that COVID is certainly helping us go to the digital platform as best as possible, certainly.
Yes, certainly. And do you think that these are some changes that you will keep permanently, or do you think you'll go back to business as before?
No, I don't think we could go back to business as before at all. I believe that with COVID, you certainly will adapt and take some of those digital tools with us going forward.
Certainly, and it will certainly streamline a lot of your business. Now, I want to talk about this major event that you had planned for November with celebrity planner of the stars, Preston Bailey, as well as Eddie, is that Zaratsian? Is that how you pronounce it? Yes, so I think that now the event is still in place, if I'm correct, but
Correct.
you're looking at a more hybrid approach. Is that, tell us a little bit more about that.
Correct. So we've actually postponed the event of, I should rather say we've actually changed the dates. So the date is now going to be from the 4th to the 8th of November 2021.
Okay.
Coming out of this, what we actually have done is we are putting on a webinar this November, so the same dates that we had the previous one, and we doing a webinar talking about COVID, what it is, how do you manage during and post-COVID? Because I think a lot of us in the industry are still trying to grapple with how, when, what is going to become of us. Because for those who day to day more or less manage with the tourism sector, and then there's none now, it's really difficult. So one of the things that we doing on the webinar, we have Dr. Glenda Niles, who's a lifestyle coach. And so she will speak about resilience, your mental check, because I think that's so important. First and foremost, with forget the businesses, forget the success and so forth. You know, you really need to wake up every morning and do that mental check. Do you have it in you to continue to go, to fight? And so just hearing her to give, different life coaching, I think that's would really help those of us within the industry. We also having Paula Makuri. She's a Pinterest guru. She has over 4 million subscribers on Pinterest. Pinterest actually uses her when they do their various educational forum. So she's going to be on, because why I chose Pinterest was because from us, again, within our wedding and events sector, even if most of persons go on Facebook or they go on Instagram, when a bride comes to you, she's really sending you her mood board with images from Pinterest. And so I think Pinterest would be a great starting point, because there's so many of us who have great, excellent imagery, but we're not showcasing it on the right platform. And I think Pinterest is indeed the right platform, because it showcases, it gives persons the opportunity to see and like what you've done and to share, so that your work could then be recreated and recreated and recreated. I will also have Dave Cox of Caribbean Bride. And I chose Caribbean Bride as the publication because, again, I wanted it to really be true, authentic Caribbean, to showcase again what it is that we have. So, just giving some information about how do we get published. So your imagery and so forth to be out there. Yes. And so Dave would actually speak to how to get published. We also have Brian Green, who is, again, an event planner, originally from Barbados, but out of Atlanta, to give us that international perspective. And I will also be one of the panelists to speak on really managing a successful business, and what are some of the things that, if you continue in the business, that I think that we need to be able to do to be able to manage better and to really enhance the standards that we currently have now in the wedding industry.
Yeah, certainly. So remind us again, when is this webinar going to be?
The webinar is actually scheduled for this November, and we actually have the date set as November the 7th, and it will be from 3 to 5 p.m. There's a small registration fee of $100 US, but I will certainly share that with you. So if there are any persons who are interested, and we'll have a flyer coming out in the next 2 weeks, that you'll be able to have that for persons who are interested, and it will also be on our website.
Yeah, so it sounds like with everything that you're doing, you're actually growing your audience, you're expanding your reach in terms of the amount of people you're capable of reaching now. So speak a little bit on that for us.
Certainly. So one of the things that, again, COVID has allowed us to do is that COVID has certainly allowed me to, again, go into that digital space and connect with clients, connect with suppliers, and connect with from a marketing perspective. And with the launch of CWeb, it also takes me outside of just the 13 destinations that we work with, because really and truly there's so many similarities. The countries, yes, may be a little different, but the issues that we all face in the industry are about the same. So being able to connect from that level, from one vendor to another vendor, share information. What works well for me may probably work well for you in, say, Tobago or in the Cayman or what have you. So I think that sharing space would certainly help us within the Caribbean sector on a whole.
Yeah, certainly. And as you know, Frances and Satney is a dear friend of mine, and she was the one who introduced us. And she has told me that the borders of St. Kitts are still closed. Many of the borders are still closed. So if I was a bride coming to you in terms of wanting to have a wedding at this point, can you kind of tell us what you would be able to provide for us in terms of a service?
Correct. So one of the things that we're doing with our brides is essentially from the start saying that it's important that you have a plan A and a plan B
Mm-hmm.
because the situation is just so fluid. I've seen destinations open their borders and within a couple of days, some a few weeks, they've closed their borders
Yes, very true.
again. We in St. Kitts have been extremely cautious, and
Mhm.
so we have not opened our borders. It's set to open in October. And so I would say to our brides, have that plan A, have that plan B. From a 2020 perspective, I am not encouraging anyone to do their 2020 weddings just
Mhm.
because, again, I know how stressful it can be that you've booked a flight and then the protocols change and you can't come anymore. But of course, if you do want to still come into 2020, we are certainly there, ready and able to assist in the destinations that are actually open. So we have a couple who's going into Barbados because Barbados is open.
Is it?
So, correct. So we are still working with that couple to go, but at every step, we just continue to remind them of what the protocols are at that existing moment in time. So if there are any changes, it does not come as a shock, but it's something that they are well aware of. And I think
Right.
that's key. Once you give the clients information ahead, then they are able to manage that information and make adjustments.
Hmm. But any thoughts on the idea of virtual weddings? Would that be a possibility? No, it's
Because
not
you
the
know,
same.
no, it's not the
I
same.
know.
They need to come and celebrate and experience that true Caribbean
Yes.
authentic experience.
Mhm.
You need to be able to get that. That can't happen virtually.
Absolutely.
You
That
know, walk in the sand, your toes through the sand, and no, and then our lovely local cuisine, because you know a lot of
yes.
travel and they want to actually savor the destination, do everything that a local would actually do.
Mhm.
So no to virtual weddings.
Yeah, it's the one thing technology cannot help us with, having the true genuine experience. Because I have been to St. Kitts, so I can testify to
Right.
how beautiful it is, and the cuisine and everything else. So I certainly agree with you with this. Now, what is your vision for beyond COVID-19? What do you envision for your company beyond this? It sounds like you've already started new arms.
Correct. Correct.
Yes.
So outside of 2020, I mean, really, COVID has just because every year we sit down and we do our 3-year plans, but COVID has certainly come and knocked that straight out of the ballpark, and
Mhm.
um, and so for us now, it's really for me, it's more about doing more intimate settings, knowing our clients, what it is that they truly want. It's also seeing the Dreamy proposals aspect to continue to launch that in all the destinations that we work in, the 13 destinations. I know cruise weddings are going to be affected somewhat until
Yes.
possibly CDC gives the green light to go ahead. But from the floral and event design, it's given me the opportunity to also be in-house to do more of directing to my staff in terms of design and working to really to showcase what brand Dreamy is all about. I love that authentic, yet still I want that classy look and feel. And I mean, a pity you can't see my entire office space, but when you walk in, you don't walk into a regular floral shop or you don't walk into a regular wedding planning, but it just gives you that air of sophistication, and it tells you that, hey, you've come to the right place, and this is what we will give you. And I say to my staff all the time, think of every client as if it were myself, and giving my client the best experience possible, because you hardly ever get a second opportunity to make a first impression.
Certainly, certainly. And just as we get ready to wrap up, tell us about your website, how we might get in contact with you, to keep apprised of everything you're doing, your Facebook page, social media and all that.
So it's Dreamy Weddings, that's DreamyWeddings.com. So that's our website. We actually rebranding again. That's one thing COVID has led us to do. So, and by the end of September, the new site will be up and running. We are on social media. On Facebook, we are Dreamy Weddings. On Instagram, we are Dreamy Weddings _. We also on Twitter as Dreamy or Dreamy Weddings as well. And once you follow one entity, we normally repost all the other entities. There's the Dreamy Group, there's St. Kitts Nevis Flores, there's Dreamy Rentals. So once you follow one entity, you would certainly get connections with all the other entities. From the US, we also have a toll-free number. So if you're doing your event in the Caribbean, you could call us at 877-694-4565, and it's a toll-free number that you could reach us. On any of our social media pages, we respond to direct messages, so clients can certainly respond to us there as well.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Now, it truly sounds like you haven't missed a beat in terms of reinventing yourself and adapting to what is going on. What would you say to others in the same space as you are, event planners, anybody who's been significantly impacted by COVID, in terms of, you know, how to adapt, how to adjust? Because some people have just folded their arms and walked away from their businesses. So what would you say to them?
I would first say, get on your knees, thank God that you're alive, you know, being thankful for whatever stage you at, and then certainly asking for that guidance onto the next step. And then picking yourself up and saying, hey, where is it do I want to be? What do I want to do coming from there? And then really start working on that. Look for inspiration. So for me, I've always looked at somebody who is more than what I am. So from a floral and event designing space, I've always loved Preston's work. So I follow him, I see what he does. So going to that space, who are your mentors in that virtual world? Go on social media, whether it be on Instagram, whether it be on Facebook, follow them, see what they're saying, get to know the trends, what's happening within the industry, and then come back to the drawing board and use that to see, how am I going to make those first steps? And reach out to family and friends who are having maybe smaller events, because now with no tourists coming in, with events being so limited as well, reach out to those persons. Somebody always knows somebody who knows somebody else, and then do the job, even though things are limited. Do it to the best of your ability, because your work speaks for itself. So even if someone introduces you, your work at the end of the day, somebody should see it and say like, wow, who did this? Can you put me onto them? And of course, photograph your work. That's extremely important. Have as many photographs as possible to be able to put out there, and try to be as optimistic even in this down period, because it's not gonna last for forever. It's not gonna last. And if at any point that it is really something that you can't, then I would probably say, look for something that you could hold on to just within the interim. Is it a new skill you have, or is it a hobby that you have, something that you really enjoy doing? Because even in this time too, it's an opportunity, as I said, to reset, but it's an opportunity to pivot as well. Maybe some aspect of your business, you could take a small piece of that and be able to grow it into something else.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that information, sharing that inspiration, because that's truly what we really need right now, to stay optimistic and to keep in mind that this too shall pass, that this is going to eventually end, and what will we have at the end of the day. So thank you so much, Natalie, for taking time off to be with us today. And thank you for the work that you're doing in making our lives beautiful with your flowers and your dreamy weddings and your wedding renewals. And we look forward to keeping in touch with you and to see how you continue to evolve.
Thank you. Thank you, Simone. It was certainly a pleasure.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.